Homes underwater and over 120 dead after Hurricane Helene ravaged North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. So where's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? The only leader to show up was Donald Trump. While Biden was at the beach during the deadliest hurricane of the year, Kamala Harris was hosting fundraisers in California. Days later, she posted a staged photo from Air Force Two. The paper she's writing on is blank, and her earphones aren't plugged in. At least Bush looked out of the window, flying over Katrina. Trump went to Georgia before Biden-Harris. Trump went to East Palestine before Biden-Harris. Trump went to the border before Biden-Harris. Trump spoke to Laken Riley's family before Biden-Harris, and he spoke to the Afghanistan Gold Star families before Biden-Harris. They say 80% of life's just showing up, and Biden and Harris have their own jets. So what's their excuse? They can get anyone in the world on the phone in 30 seconds, but they won't even pick it up. Trump goes to you. Biden and Harris hide from you. Trump shows you that he loves you. Biden and Harris take you for granted. We all know people like that.
Interesting. Great take by Jesse Waters. Wow.
Definitely.
I mean, there's still some people over there at Fox. I mean, I watch Maria Bartiromo on Sunday morning. But that's about it. But he's been killing it for a while.
Yeah, he kind of took over for Tucker, didn't he?
Yeah, he filled that slot. And other than that, I don't know who else you could possibly watch except those two people.
Well, I think that this Babylon Bee headline really covers it as well. Doctors will no longer ask who is the president to test for concussions, since nobody is really sure right now.
Oh, that's an old question. Well, I just want to say my prayers go out to the people in Chimney Rock. I have friends there in Lake Lure, in Western North Carolina. I have some people down there, and that's been a devastated area in Chimney Rock. I mean, the whole town's gone, so I don't know where they are, but Lake Lure is there, and they saying Western North Carolina, it may take years to rebuild down there and months to get service, and absolutely devastating. Our prayers go out to them there.
Yes, and I do want to point out, I saw a comment come in. I did not want to neglect South Carolina. I understand South Carolina has been hit as well, or Georgia. It's not a deliberate thing that I mentioned Tennessee and North Carolina and Florida and Georgia. They're in the headline. All of these states have obviously been affected to different degrees. We're not on the ground. We don't know specifically which one.
I've been contacted by people from that particular area. I don't know what's going on in other places. It's a little difficult right now.
I agree. As Stan here said, though, very cool. Yeah. Donald Trump is actually out there. Donald Trump's the acting president right now.
Yeah, I know.
When you were asking about what's he doing, talking to Zelensky, what's he doing, talking? He is acting like the damn president, including.
I don't blame him. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
It's shocking, but it's true. I mean, and the leadership's deferring to him. It's like, Trump, what do we do? What do we do? And
well, when you've got a lame duck like this, when you don't know if Jimmy Carter would be better right now at the age of 200, or Joe Biden, I mean, couldn't Jimmy Carter help out with the two guys combined?
Possibly, except Jimmy Carter turned 100 today, by the way. Happy birthday, Jimmy.
Right. So combined, it would be nearly 200 years of wisdom, and maybe together they could run the country.
Could be. And this is Georgia. That's Jimmy Carter's home.
Right.
I don't know, but it is. Well,
I mean, happy birthday to him. And celebrity deaths, as you're well aware, always come in threes. With Kris Kristofferson and Pete Rose, and now John Amos, the father from Good Times. If everybody, the legendary John Amos, also in Roots. But I remember
Mary Tyler Moore. I didn't know he was in that.
In which?
He was Gordy the Weatherman in Mary Tyler Moore.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. But I think everyone knows him as the father from Good Times more than anything else. But all three of them went literally within 72 hours.
Well, and then I'm not as familiar with Dikembe Mutombo, but he also did pass.
Let me tell you something. Mutombo was a great player. I mean, they tried to double team and triple team him, as I recall. Just a really, really good player from Africa. I think he was 7'11" or some insane height. But yeah, I mean, those guys usually don't last long because of the size of their bodies and organs and everything else. But Pete Rose was the opposite. He was much shorter than Mutombo, probably the greatest player in the history of baseball.
40 over the new guy, the Japanese new guy.
Right. Well, we don't know where his career is going. I'm just talking about Pete played for 24 years, has the hit record. It'll never be broken, over 4,500 hits. One of the greatest players of all time. Played for the Cincinnati Reds, Phillies, Expos, and then comes back to the Reds. Was an as a player manager. Absolutely earned the moniker Charlie Hustle. The guy, you know, if he walked, he ran at supersonic speed to first base, just getting a walk, Eric, and then just went from there. Famously slid head first all the time, even at home. Just played every position. I mean, at the end of his career, he was at first, I think. I think he started out as a second baseman, moved to the outfield. I remember running into him a couple of years ago. He lived in Sherman Oaks. I was having brunch with some writers, and he came in with his daughters, and the whole place just went, "Oh my God, it's Pete Rose." You know, this was about 10 years ago. But you know, not allowed to be in the Hall of Fame for reasons I'm going to tell you now, and I don't. This is not to besmirch him. On the field, one of the top 3 greatest players of all time. I mean, him, Willie Mays, and you know, maybe Ohtani, but his career is not over yet, so we can't put Ohtani in there. But Pete Rose absolutely played the game hard and right, and abided by the rules of the game. Ray Fosse and his family might not agree, as a catcher who Pete Rose barreled into in an all-star game when all-star games were real. And then there was Buddy Harrelson at short for the Mets, who he took out on a famous slide into second base. Buddy Harrelson was a twig of a man, and Pete Rose almost destroyed him. But they got into a fight, and Buddy Harrelson gave as good as he got into that fight. The two of them punching each other in the face at second base. Pete Rose was a throwback to the Ty Cobb era of baseball, and played it like Ty Cobb played it, like a sharpening your spikes kind of player. That being said, there's a reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame. And I've agreed with this my entire life, and I will not agree simply because he's dead now. He bet on the game. He bet on teams. He was an addictive gambler. He claims never to have bet on his own team. I find that to be highly unlikely. He altered the pitching rotation of his own team when he was a player manager for the Reds to line up pitchers for certain bets that he had. His denials didn't really hold water. He said he bet on other teams other than his own. They have a rule in baseball: if you're caught gambling, it's a lifetime ban. It's in every locker room in the game. It's been there for years, since the 1919 Black Sox scandal, when the Black Sox drew the World Series, the White Sox, that is, the Comiskey White Sox. Pete Rose, and I just want to get into this for a second, because, and this is not to step on his career, but nevertheless, Pete Rose would have all-night card games, doing tons of cocaine with his mafia. He had like an Elvis Presley kind of mafia, and they would do tons and tons of coke, play cards, and when they ran out of coke, Pete Rose would pick up the phone, call a memorabilia dealer, have him come over and randomly pick a bat out of his closet and say, "This is the 3,000 hit bat," as a lie, and sell it to the guy and buy more coke. Then go back to the table snickering how he did it again, selling the 3,000 hit bat or whatever commemorative memorabilia he would sell to the guy, sarcastically, cynically lying. And then the guy would leave, and he'd come back to his snickering poker table mates, and they'd get another 5 ounces of coke and keep playing. That was Pete Rose. All this other thing is bullshit. The guy was an addictive gambler, and I think MLB wanted him to go to treatment, go to rehab, which he never did. And if he did, I believe he'd be in the Hall of Fame today. Rest in peace. had a very tormented life, and he was one of the greatest players in the history of the game. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. This is somebody I know. I think that a fan of the show, but they communicate with us quite a bit on X. Tommy with a bunch of letters 964988881, and he obviously met Pete Rose. But I like this. Pete Rose signed a baseball. I'm sorry, I shot JFK.
Yeah, he a friend of mine just told me he met him at the airport in Oakland, and he signed his business card with his hit number. On his business card, he would put the number of hits that he got, which is another good way of doing it. Pete Rose, I mean, sarcastic sense of humor, no doubt about it. But I just want to get to Kris Kristofferson for a second, whose father was a military guy. He grew up in Pomona. He grew up right here in California, and he went to Pomona College. And when he was like, I think 16, was writing articles that were award-winning articles for the Atlantic Monthly in Pomona, and eventually joins the military, learns how to become a military pilot of helicopters. His father was a major general, I believe. And there is Kris Kristofferson, who will become a Rhodes Scholar. He will go to school in London. He will become a fantastic writer and a fantastic actor and a fantastic singer-songwriter. Of course, who wrote me and Bobby McGee, Sunday Morning Coming Down, Help Me Make It Through the Night. Just a legendary guy who was sweet.
Raindrops is the one I knew him by. From Butch and Sundance, wasn't it him? Raindrops Keep Falling on My
No, that was what's his name. Anyway, so he ended up sweeping up recording studios in Nashville as a job just to get his foot in the door. But my favorite story, he was working on oil rigs. He became whatever a rig guy is, like a roustabout in a carny. He was on these oil rigs, and he took a helicopter, and that's Burt Bacharach. He's right. He took a helicopter, and with a beer in one hand and his song in the other hand, flew the helicopter, landed on the front lawn of Johnny Cash with the song Help Me Make It Through the Night. Cash came out, he gave him the song, gave him a beer, and Johnny Cash recorded it, and the rest is history. That's the Kris Kristofferson that I know. The last of the Highwaymen is still alive. That's Johnny Cash and him and Waylon, and he was the last of the four Highwaymen, and he can rest in peace. He had some hell of a life. Nominated for Best Actor for a Golden Globe for Star is Born with Barbara Streisand. The second movie made of A Star is Born. Third one will have what's her name in it with Bradley Cooper. Which is actually not a bad movie. Actually, Andrew Dice Clay plays the father in the third Star is Born. But anyway, Kris Kristofferson, a legendary singer-songwriter, eventually started to record his own songs. And if you ever get a hangover, please listen to Sunday Morning Coming Down, one of the great hangover movies of all time. And he also did a song called Vietnam Blues. He later turned against the war himself, but Vietnam Blues was recorded by a guy named Dave Dudley. And Dave Dudley, famously, people who know country, his biggest hit was 6 Days on the Road. But Dave Dudley recorded Vietnam Blues, which was one of these talking kind of sing-song things about Vietnam and the protesters, which was a hit for Dave Dudley. I don't know if it was a hit for Kris Kristofferson, but he wrote it and made a lot of money in music and was revered as a righteous dude. Rest in peace, Kris Kristofferson.
Absolutely, for sure. Somebody dropped this dropped a super chat, and I did not know this, but 3 American pickers died this week. One picked bets, one picked guitars, and one picked junk out of old barns. And I did not know the American pickers guy.
Yeah, died. This guy died today or last night or something. I don't know what that was about. I didn't really watch. I guess
he had a stroke 2 years ago, and
I've never seen the show, so I wouldn't put him in their league. I mean, these other guys.
Well, I know that it's not the same league, but it is a show
not because I didn't watch it, but it has nothing to do with it. I mean,
Yeah. So Willie's all that's left.
Yeah, and Bob, Willie and Bob. So somebody saw, a friend of mine I saw this guy yesterday. He went to see a show with Willie and Bob together recently. So I went, holy crap.
I bet you wish.
Maybe they're touring together or something. I'm not really sure. It was a couple of weeks ago, he said.
All right. Well, it's kind of a sad moment. How about a happy moment?
If there is one.
Sure. Technology columnist Taylor Lorenz leaves the Washington Post.
And goes where? Where did she go?
Substack.
Oh, of course.
Her own Substack blog.
Of course.
Bye-bye, Taylor. Bye-bye.
Sad state of affairs. Chick is triggered by everything. She would probably be fitting in with that striking tech department at the New York Times that said they wanted trigger warnings when they discussed the news.
Remember her crying about the
Dude, she was the biggest boo-hoo in the history of journalism. I thought it was an act. I mean, I couldn't believe that she was real.
Oh no, she's the worst. She's the worst. All right, I want to switch back to politics for a minute. I thought this was pretty good. This weekend, Trump and them ran an ad on the football game, and even Charlemagne Lagarde or whatever, Charlemagne was commenting on it.
That ad they was running during the football games this weekend, claiming the vice president supports funding gender transition surgeries for all prison inmates and migrants in the U.S. That was nuts. I don't know if it was.
I wouldn't say nuts, but that was crazy.
That was funny.
I don't know if it was the backdrop of football, but when you hear the narrator say Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners, that one line, I was like, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
Definitely see
That's
that.
right.
That ad was effective.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Kamala, the transgender. It was.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no. The ads are very effective. The theme of all of these ads that he's been running are that they're in her voice, and she's the one talking in the ads. That's an overall theme that they're using now, which is very effective.
Yeah, it's her policy and
her talking.
Yeah, I mean, how do you deny that? She just said it. It's like there.
You just got to beat that. You just got to keep coming up with more and more of these clips before they, deep six them, and you can't find them because there's gold in them there hills if you could dig it out.
That's true, but on that note, speaking of gold in them dar hills, we have a sponsor.
Oh wow!
And I want to share it with everyone right now.
What is it?
America, listen up. The world is getting more predictable by the day. Political insanity, rumors of civil war, an unstable stock market, and now the looming threat of a new global health emergency. Did you know there's a bird flu summit coming in October? It's eerily reminiscent of Event 201 that foreshadowed the COVID pandemic. And get this, the first topic on the agenda is mass fatality management planning. If that doesn't send chills down your spine, I don't know what will. But here's the good news. You don't have to be scared if you're prepared. The wellness company created the medical emergency kit, and every home in America should have at least one of these. They're packed with life-saving meds like ivermectin, amoxicillin, and even a Z-Pack. And it's all backed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough. Imagine this. No more frantic searches for a doctor. No more emergency waiting rooms. Just a few clicks, and this kit is delivered to your front door. In times like these, having your medical emergency kit is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Protect your family by preparing now. Head over to twc.health/Eric and use the code AUS to save $30. Don't wait until it's too late. Act now, take control, and ensure you're protected against whatever comes next. That's twc.health/Eric and use the code AUS to save $30 plus free shipping right now.
Well, I'll be taking mine with me to Florida when I go to Florida, Eric. You just reminded me.
What's going on in Florida? Well,
oh my God, this is unbelievable. The breaking news. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Alert, alert. Eric and I are going to have the mother of all end of America election night meetups in West Palm Beach at a hotel where we had met up previously with celebrity guests, either coming in electronically or physically, with a dinner buffet bar. And we're going to make it like it into a newsroom with a live television feed. And we're going to call the election all fucking night. So this is it. Either we have a country or we don't have a country. And I had a dream the other night. I was going to West Palm anyway. And Eric had pointed out that the Tuesday show was on election night, which is November 5th. So we decided to have an End of America ? Meetup with everyone, so we can either sink or swim together that night as a nation. Hopefully there'll be a joyous night. If not, we'll at least all be together when the Titanic goes down. So we're going to be keep your eyes open. Eric's going to be putting some tickets together, and it's going to be a big deal. November 5th, Tuesday night. Doors will probably open at 3:30-ish, 4 o'clock, and then we'll have the dinner, drinks, and then a live show. You're going to be part of the live show itself, and then we're going to broadcast out pretty far, because I think we're going to tie into other podcasts, Eric, right? The way we're
hopefully we're literally just putting it together, but 5 weeks from today we'll figure it out, or it'll be happening.
There'll be some other names involved that you're well familiar with, who will either be there physically or electronically as part of the broadcast. And we're going to try to make it like, we're calling the election in live real time. At least that's the idea. It'll be like Huntley Brinkley, but it'll be Huntley and Grobert instead of Huntley Brinkley. And we think it's the only way to go, because otherwise everyone's going to be sitting on their own couch by themselves, sucking their thumbs. And we might as well all do it together and have some food and get drunk and party. Better for worse, Eric, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's my take on it.
Well, we're trying to repeat the Joe Rogan 2016 Into the World experience, when something really great happened.
Right.
Trump got elected.
Right. I call this the End of America. I didn't even know about that. Eric pointed that out, but I was already calling this the End of America podcast. So we'll try to use that and see how many different podcasts we can tie into, and how many people will, be on the panel that night. And hopefully it'll be an early night election wise. Sometimes these things end early if you can call them early, and who knows, maybe not. We'll take it as long as we could physically take it that night, without being kicked out.
Yeah, it'll probably be a 4 or 5 hour show.
Oh yeah, no. This is we're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna need substances. Bring everything you can with you. Smuggle it into West Palm Beach, and we'll be at the same hotel, I believe, where we had the last meetup. I'm working on that right now, which went very well. When we gave Viva the award, that was kind of a smooth operation. So I'm going to try to get it there again.
So start planning now, November 5th.
Yeah, it's one show, right? It's one show, one price. Everybody's no two different shows, no two different price structures. It's every man for himself. So keep that in mind. It's everybody together in one giant room in a ballroom.
Okay.
And vote before you leave.
I don't know if you're well named, but again, November 5th. That's
so what date is that again?
So yes.
It's like New Year's Eve. What time's when? What's the date of New Year's Eve party?
What now? Hold on.
Anyway, we'll give you updates for the next couple of weeks. So we just wanted to get people thinking about it, and try to get everybody we can for this End of America thing.
Yes, remember the 5th of November.
That's funny.
Very, very perfect. All right. I also want to play this clip. It's also from the Breakfast Club, and I thought, you know what this ties in, Mark? And this is with Byron Daniels. And it's
Byron Daniels, a comic or something?
No, he's a congressman out of Florida.
That guy. I love that guy.
Yeah, I think you'll like this. You'll like this. She's bragging about infrastructure right now, by the way. What's going on in North Carolina, and what's going on?
Forget these people. Forget these clowns, bro. This is a clown show. I like him. I mean,
he's shredding her. I love it.
No, he goes in and he's shredding some fucking chick who lives in the projects. I mean, my mother could shred her, but he's good. He's pretty good.
I like what he brings up, though. Woman is talking here.
What the hell's going on? What does that guy have to do with housing, though? What does he rent out his apartment? What is the other guy?
No, somebody else is in the housing. He just did an analogy saying, hey, if we wanted to hire somebody who broke all the other houses, would you hire them? And the guy's like, no.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
Right,
it's just an analogy, but
right.
You could just see she's like, how do I get a hold of it again?
She's a Kamalaite. She has no idea what she's talking about. It's all verbal gestures and cues. It's all talking with your hands. It's a political view campaign. Everyone's on The View, the show. Everybody, that's her base, is The View. And you know what? If you watch Barnes and Barris on Monday, Inside the Numbers, Eric, they will show you that there's not enough of these Kamala Harris types to win the election. I'm sorry, they don't have enough of them. They've run out of old white people that Biden used to bring in Pennsylvania, Scranton Joe's working class old Democrats. They've run out of black males. Trump is pulling about 30 to 35% of the black males. They're gone. Latinos are gone. Even young Zoomer and Gen X's aren't buying this commie horse shit. If this campaign was longer, she would be losing by more. But that was the plan of coming in as an ambush candidate because she couldn't survive with her commie horse shit long enough to win the election. But there are numbers that Barris and Barnes go over on Inside the Numbers that are devastating, including that CIA senator from up there in Michigan talking about how she's underwater in Michigan now. They're scared to death in the Rust Belt. Arizona's gone. I mean, there's so much damage. Georgia, I think, is gone. She may win Nevada, but even that's contestable. They have him up in Nevada, internal polling.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's completely crazy because North Carolina is a damn swing state, and she's just blowing it off, just letting them die down there. I mean, it's like obviously she's given up on North Carolina and Georgia as a swing state. She should be right there. At least Gavin Newsom. I can't stand the guy, but he'll go pick up garbage.
Oh no,
at least do a show.
He knows you have to show up at every single disaster. He's always done that in California. In fact, he made it illegal this week that you can never, ever produce ID to vote. He signed legislation. You'll be shot in the head if you try or attempt to pull out your voter ID, your driver's license, or anything. You'll be arrested. New legislation. These people have bills that come out of that Sacramento that are so crazy, and by the time they're signed by him, you just go, holy crap, this one's completely insane. Oh, and by the way, Nate Hochman, who debated Gascon this week, is hated by everyone now in California. It's just a lesser of two evils election at this point. And he's got this massive lead on Gascon, and they debated each other, and you didn't know who to hate more in this debate the other night. I mean, people are just hating on Hochman. Gascon kept calling him Hookmoan. It was just so crazy. He couldn't get his name right, and it's just Hochman. One of the strangest political debates.
So is this like the brown shirts and red shirts going at each other now?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but the name, the not getting the guy's name right is really bizarre. And look, Hochman's going to win, and people are hoping, Eric, that he wants to go to higher office like attorney general or governor to get him out of the DA's office as quickly and humanly possible. And there were other candidates, as John Phillips out here was saying, conservative radio pundit. There were so many other candidates on the right running for DA, and this guy won it. And now people have buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse.
Hopefully he does the job.
Oh, he will. He will do the job.
If he does the job, it's like, just shut up.
And get out of here. They just
go sit in your office, do your job, and shut up. That would be good. But okay, speaking of the Gavin Newsom thing, let's go through this because Elon Musk
this is good.
Has put it out really well. And I mean, the guy's not dumb. He knows what's happening, and it's very clear.
Okay, so read this out loud so people can understand this, Eric.
All right. Very few Americans realize that if Trump is not elected, this will be the last election. Far from being a threat to democracy, he is the only way to save it.
Okay. Next one.
Right? No. explain. If even 1 in 20 illegals become citizens per year, something that the Democrats are expediting as fast as humanly possible, that would be about 2 million new legal voters in 4 years. By the way, where are they pumping the illegals in? Springfield. What's going on there?
Springfield's a bellwether. Springfield is an alert from God to tell us about this plan.
Yes.
Because there are thousands of Springfield, Ohios all over the country where they have plummeted these people to make red into blue in the next election. This is not this election. Yep. They're not going to pull it off this election. Because these guys are not going to stand in line and vote and risk getting arrested. They're just not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
They're not entrenched yet.
They're not entrenched yet. But what Musk is saying, and if you go to the next card, I'll read that one. Moreover, the Biden-Harris administration has been flying asylum seekers who are fast-tracked to citizenship directly into swing states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Arizona. It is a surefire way to win every election. He's right. We've been saying this on this channel for a year, and here's the final one, Eric.
America then becomes a one-party state and democracy is over. The only elections will be the Democratic Party primaries. This already happened in California many years ago following the 1986 amnesty.
And I'll read the last one. I think there's a fifth card here. Yeah, the only thing holding California back from extreme socialism and suffocating government policies is that people can leave California and still remain in America. Once the whole country is controlled by one party, there will be no escape. It's an amazing tweet by Musk. We've been saying this, but we're not Musk. For him to say it really amplifies the shit out of it now.
Well, keep in mind, too, this is Elon Musk. He is not an American, folks. I mean, he's a citizen now, I'm sure, but he is from South Africa. How are things in South Africa? He understands what it's like to be squeezed out. There are programs there that are stealing land quite literally from white farmers, let's be honest. And the people stealing the lands, a lot of them are incapable of farming.
Yep.
And the whole country, South Africa is not doing so well. No. And if you read his biography, his growing up, it wasn't easy.
Well, getting back to the United States, what California was, and I said this last week, it was the test model of this situation where they flooded California after the 1986 amnesty with aliens, over 2 million in a couple of years, then 3 million, then 4 million, then 6 million. They have broken the medical system here. You can't even get an echo stress test. There's 6 months out in Cedars-Sinai. Everything is backed up because they've enrolled every single one of them legally onto Medi-Cal, and they have broken the system here. It's completely broken. I'm talking about having gold insurance. It doesn't matter. You can't get an appointment because the system is so backed up. It doesn't even matter what type of insurance you have. That's the national model of having a one-party state that they're trying now to spread across the United States. And he's correct. By putting these people in the swing states, there will be no more swing states, Eric.
Yeah, by the way, there's another international example. And just because I'm talking about other countries doesn't mean it's science for here.
Yeah.
How's it looking for England right now?
Yeah.
I mean, population has shifted there.
It has completely
to be
shifted.
Something completely different, and it's very confusing. Ireland is going to probably go that way. I think they're saying 10 to 15 years.
Well, I think these rhinos know that, and pragmatically they're shifting over towards the Democrats to save their own skins. They know this is coming. They know this one-party state thing is happening. And Jeff Flake, one of the original rhinos, today endorsed Kamala Harris out of Arizona. I don't know if you remember Jeff Flake.
Well-named individual.
Right. So, I mean, I think their alignment, because people are always wondering why are the rhinos doing this. I think they see this coming, that this is going to be a one-party country if Trump loses, which they're trying to help happen. And I think that they are going to be a phony party that just they're a name only. And the Democrat, as Elon said, the only real voting will be the Democratic primary, which is what happens here. This is what happens in California. This is the model. This is not conspiracy theory by any stretch of the imagination. All you have to do is look here. Nobody's won statewide office here in decades from scratch on the Republican side. So, I mean, you're looking at this. You get a situation where Adam Schiff is 30 points ahead of Steve Garvey, who's got ultimate name recognition, can't even put a dent into it. Nobody's going to vote for a Republican candidate. In fact, this guy Hochman is running for a nonpartisan job, which is the DA's office here in LA County, and he still came out and endorsed Kamala Harris. Why? Because he sees the handwriting on the wall. This guy's pragmatic. In his mind, he believes this is where we're going. And Musk is right. He's putting his money where his mouth is, Musk, by backing Trump as deeply pocketed as he humanly can.
And leaving California, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he already moved Tesla out of there. Now he's moving X out, SpaceX, I mean, everything out of California.
Yeah.
Some of his exchanges with Gavin Newsom are funny, actually.
Some of the tweet exchanges.
Oh, yeah. They go at each other on X.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, he doesn't care, Newsom. He's termed out himself. He's looking for a spot, and I think he's rooting for her to lose. I think Whitmer is rooting for her to lose. There's a lot of people on the left who are rooting for her to lose so they could come back after 4 years of Trump in 2028.
And by the way, thank God for them.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if they were all in line, I mean, truly in line, it would be much worse. Like Shapiro, I don't think he wants her to win.
Shapiro is definitely doesn't want her to win. And look, she can't, according to every expert that I depend on, there's no path to victory without Pennsylvania.
Right.
And there's no Scranton Joe. I mean, he's not even out on the trail helping her, bro. There's no Scranton Joe. He's at the beach. He lives at the beach. I don't know what he loves so much about the beach. I mean, I love the beach. I grew up on
He's pretty mummified.
Yeah, I like the beach as much as the next guy, but I don't go as often as him.
Yeah, I mean, that's his campaign. We can't exactly go playing golf.
You know what? Physically, maybe this is all he could do.
Sit in a chair and bake.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. Wow.
All right, I wanted to share this. It's a friend of mine online, 5 times August, Brad Skistimus. But I just want people to know about what's going on, especially when there's any kind of bullshit cancellation or anything else. Apparently, Bandcamp is woke, and they removed all of his music off of Bandcamp because he, sings songs about Fauci and whatever else, and not only him but many other people. And I just wanted to point that out. So
what is Bandcamp? It's like Spotify?
No, Bandcamp is for independent artists.
But I'm saying it's not rock and roll camp. You're saying it's a thing online?
Yes, it's a service like Apple Music and Spotify for independent artists.
Okay.
And the idea of it was a great thing, supporting smaller independent artists, blah 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 blah. And so a lot of people like to support them. I just want you all to be informed that Bandcamp is just like GoFundMe, just like some of the other ones. Before you invest in supporting, try to support your artists somewhere else if you can.
I think you should GoFundMe for the people in Western North Carolina and other people who have had so much damage done to their areas. That would be a much better GoFundMe.
Oh, okay. that would be a Give Send Go, actually.
Oh, Give Send Go. I'm sorry.
But Trump did do a GoFundMe.
I know. That's why I'm a little confused. He raised like
almost $1 million in an hour.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not going to take that away from him.
No, probably not that. I mean, but it's disaster relief. I mean,
yeah.
It's not Kyle Rittenhouse, so they like to take it away from him, but it's still. Yeah. Not only that, the people who donated, I'm sure, like Elon dropped a couple hundred. Everybody in the first hour dropped like 200,000 up. And Kid Rock dropped 20 grand.
Wow.
So that's why it ran up really, really quickly.
Right. Okay.
But great. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying super. All right. So going back to your home state with your illustrious governor, how's that minimum wage working out?
Oh, I think we covered this last week, but yeah, that's
we did get to it. Okay.
Yeah, we did this last week, 5,400, right? But I did want to get to the Secret Service report that came out this week, the Bipartisan Assassination Committee report. I think there's 3 stacks of them. It's really deep. And in that report are certain failures of the Secret Service, Eric, that were institutional failures. 2 of them that I wanted to mention. The first one was they seem to not know who shot and killed Matthew Crooks. There seems to be some sort of controversy as to who the shooter was, and that is not figured out.
Do you remember all the way back at the time I said it seemed to be the response unit or somebody from lower who didn't have to have a scope because the snipers couldn't get a shot?
Okay.
Remember I said all that? Okay.
The guy who's testifying is with his lawyer, who's on one of the shooting teams, and his lawyer is nervous that he's going to be named the shooter and interrupts the Senate questioner, saying we haven't determined who the shooter is, and we don't want to reveal that that my client was the shooter. I mean, it's just really, really weird that they lawyered up for this thing. But number 2. We discussed the situation with the drones. There's a couple of things I wanted to discuss about the drone operation. But first, there was video footage of how the SUV did not leave quickly with Trump in it. I don't know if you remember how long it took for that SUV to get out of this backside stage area, Eric.
Yeah, but I've been there. It is kind of it's a clusterfuck. Excuse my language.
Right. Well, you can't put the car there.
Yeah, it's kind of cramped in a weird, weird spot. All of it's really weird. Like that's one of the questions we had when we went there is why that particular spot when there was a giant fairground, which had huge ingress, egress.
It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. But what's more insane is why the thing was moving so slowly. And I'm going to tell you what happened from the report. The guy the driver, a Secret Service driver, and his sidekick, a Secret Service agent, had no cell phone service. They were trying to Google the address of the hospital to take the wounded president to, and could not find the address of the hospital because they had no cell phone service. They began to bring up old emails in their own phones to find an email address of the hospital near Butler, Pennsylvania, to take him to. That's why that car was going 1 inch a mile out of that back area. He was Googling or attempting to find the actual address of the hospital. I swear to God, it's in the report. It's in the report.
Such geniuses.
Total geniuses. Now,
I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking that logistically speaking, okay, you can't find it, you don't have a cell phone. You'll get the hell out of the area. You could be searching down the road 10 miles and do it then.
He got in.
We'll stay in the area where it might be hot.
He got in and said, we got to find the hospital. Okay. The fact is that even in a movie, in a film, you get a call sheet. The call sheet itself has the hospital, has the police station, has the fire department on a call sheet for a film. For a film, every emergency thing, the closest CVS, closest Target, everything is in your call sheet when you make a Hollywood movie. They didn't even have that. They didn't have, on paper, they didn't have it, which is shocking, absolutely shocking. Now there's a woman, Crabtree, who's been covering this for Real Clear Politics, and she is talking about a new Abraham Bolden. She doesn't know about Abraham Bolden, but we do. And his name is Rashid Ellis. Now, Rashid Ellis was the guy in charge of the drone program. And they are trying to Abraham Bolden him, saying he's an alcoholic, and imprison him for being a whistleblower about the drone program failure, Eric. He's a technology guy. And their motto is yesterday's technology tomorrow. And it's kind of a cynical, sarcastic, internal. Is this the guy right here?
Yeah, he's a Secret Service guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Absolutely. He's the modern day Abraham Bolden, who they're trying to discredit right now, who called them out on their lack of technology skills regarding their drone program. I just wanted to give them a shout out. Crabtree's doing amazing work on Real Clear Politics investigations. She covers the Secret Service and is really the Julie Kelly of the Secret Service, if you follow Julie Kelly regarding the January 6 cases.
Yeah, no, she does great work.
Yeah.
It has been ever since that incident. I assume she's doing other great work for Real Clear Politics as well.
Well, her beat for 15 years has been the Secret Service. That's her beat.
I can't believe that's there's enough there to have it as a beat. That's
something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can say it being one of her beats, but her actual.
No, that's her beat. That's her beat.
Wow.
And she's good at it. She's really good. She has a lot of sources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord.
I mean, think about it. There's always something. You're going back to the Columbia debacle, the things that happen now. There's always something with the Secret Service.
I guess it just doesn't seem like it's that much, but okay.
I wish it was my beat. I tell you right now, that would be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, this is not fun. This is breaking news of the day. Israel is under attack.
Look how far this has descended into madness now because of lack of American power, lack of American leadership. This is completely descending into these smaller countries now attacking each other. I mean, we've obviously given them the money.
Yeah, we funded it.
We funded this operation. We've slow walked. Keep in mind the Nasrallah execution by Israel, the head of Hezbollah. Nasrallah's execution was with a bunker buster bomb that Biden was threatening them 3 months ago not to use, those 800-pound bunker buster bombs. That's what killed Nasrallah. They evacuated the apartment buildings. They leafleted them for days, getting the civilians out. There was a warren of tunnels underneath the apartment buildings that the leadership of Hezbollah was using, and they used the 800-pound bunker buster bombs to kill him and the top leadership. That's why Iran is now coming in, because Hezbollah has been decimated. So now the overlords, the big daddy, by the way, the leader of Iran has fled into some sort of underground bunker system that they have in Tehran. So he's living in an underground bunker himself. So his days are numbered too.
I'm sure he won't be missed.
No.
I mean, where are we going with it? From my understanding, they've declared war.
I mean, it's on. They launched 200 missiles into Israel and threatened Israel not to retaliate. And of course, that's insane. They're going to launch their jets and they're going to go right at Tehran. They already had boots on the ground in Lebanon. It's on. And, Netanyahu said repeatedly for 6 months, this is it. We're not doing this again. This is it. It ends now. All the name calling, all that shit, it's over. It's over. This is now on. Let's get it on. And this is him saying it. So, I mean, they're determined to end this. If Trump could get back into office and deal with a peace plan in January, that's another story. I don't know if it's going to last that long, but this is on full blast now.
Fair enough. Where I don't know the politics and the levels of the military, et cetera, at the time, but is it possible that strategically this is the right time for them to do it? Like, have they weakened Hezbollah to such a degree?
It's been incremental.
Iran to such a degree.
Started with Hamas. They started with Hamas. They decimated Hamas. Then they went after Hezbollah in Lebanon and Beirut, killed their leadership. They killed the Hamas leadership. And now they're going after the mullahs. That's where it is. It's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And if they had any leadership in Washington, this never would have happened. But this is where it is. They're funding them with billions of dollars out of D.C. And Israel's between a rock and a hard place now.
Right. Well, and I guess that's what I'm just wondering. It's like, do you foresee that they could actually take out Iran right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where this is going. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're not backing down. This is on. This is on full blast.
So it'd be interesting because
I
think that the current administration wants this to happen.
Well, they wanted either a complete ceasefire that they could crow about before the election. Now the other aspect, the other 360 degrees, the other direction now, because they couldn't get the ceasefire.
Right. They're trying to do the don't change the horse in midstream angle.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing that worked for W in 2004.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's the angle. It's like, oh, well, now you can't do that. And by the way, if you criticize them, you're unpatriotic. Don't you know we're at war?
Well, I mean, Israel is now not even communicating with them. They're just going about their business. They have plans on the table on how to do this for decades, Eric. This is not willy-nilly. They have a step-by-step guide on what to do, and they're implementing their step-by-step guide without American influence or interference. I mean, they didn't just wake up and say, how do we take care of Iran physically? They know exactly what they have to do, the targets that they have to hit.
Decades.
For decades. I mean, the only thing that's been stopping them is us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That is a sad thing. Okay. Did you share this with me, or did I share it with you? The Phil Holloway about John Kerry. John Kerry really doesn't like the First Amendment.
Oh yeah, this has been a hot thing all day the past 3 days. Of course, if you want to show a little clip of it, everybody's been sharing this, including Elon Musk, about this piece of shit.
The dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard to govern today. You can't, there's the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact, that kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree. And people go and that people self-select where they go for their news or for their information.
You're not listening to me.
You just get into
they self-select.
So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been.
You mean control the narrative?
Yeah, control the narrative and govern.
There's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick,
is the New York Times,
and has an agenda, and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern.
Oh, okay. This is that same piece of shit who loved the First Amendment while he was throwing his medals and saying all this shit about Vietnam. No, he loved the First Amendment and going against whatever the mainstream was. But
it's the same with the Supreme Court, Eric. The same when the Supreme Court rules in their favor during the Earl Warren courts, they loved it.
Yeah, I mean, what a piece.
But now they want to stack the Supreme Court or have term limits on the Supreme Court.
Right. Oh, and somebody who's a moderator pointed out, and it's true, going back to our last subject, Valerie Jarrett got Roseanne canceled for her tweet about Iran posing existential threat to Israel.
Right. Now, Valerie Jarrett, who speaks Iranian, their language, and was born in Iran. Her parents
Farsi,
were
I think.
Farsi. And her parents lived in Tehran. Her father was ostensibly a spook doctor, and her mother was there doing intelligence work. And that's where a lot of this is coming from people within the State Department, within the Obama administration, who are connected to Iran. This is very similar to the 1950s, and we may need a McCarthy-type hearing to eradicate these people who are embedded from Iran with Iranian connections in both the State Department and the executive wing of the government. And it's as simple as that, unless you want to go full Iranian and switch allies in midstream, switch from Israel to Iran, which is what Obama wants to do. This goes back to black nationalism in the 60s when Israel was considered as evil as South Africa. The apartheid thing comes from a post-South African universe. The black nationalists consider Israelis to be white and the Palestinians to be black. This goes all the way back to the 1960s with black nationalism in South Africa. And this is where we are.
Wow. Lovely, 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 lovely. All right. So let's jump back to the election. And you sent me this. What do we have here? Federal judge blocks Arizona Democrat Secretary of State from certifying 2024 election if counties withhold certification due to fraud.
Yeah, I think this is positive news because it's allowing county registrars to withhold the results if they believe there was fraud in that county in Arizona, is my read on this thing. And the Secretary of State, who's a Democrat, wants to get them certified as quickly as possible regarding the state totals. So this may be a good thing.
Well, by the way, the previous Secretary of State, I think, is now the governor.
Yeah. The two women are in on it. They're in on it together.
So yeah, no shock there. But hopefully Arizona does fall. I mean,
yeah. Well, he's got, according to the numbers that I'm hearing, a 5 to 6 point lead, and he may have some coattails for Kerry Lake, according to Barnes, who says don't bet against Kerry Lake in this race. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say if Trump were to win Arizona, Kerry Lake can't ride a coattail, then
something's wrong. Something's wrong. I mean, but the fact that Arizona is so corrupt about these elections, what is the deal there that they're so crazy trying to corrupt this election and the past elections? It's astounding. It really is shocking. It really is shocking that this one state has become such a bellwether of corruption.
That's a swing state and has a ton of California, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
And this woman,
I grew up there.
That's why I'm asking you. I don't know. I'm a visitor.
Because California fucking dumped into it.
Okay.
Almost every nasty thing about Arizona comes from California.
Right. Okay. So let's say you're just voting, but I'm talking about the incredible battles over 2020, the court battles, the court and with Kerry Lake battle. I mean, the corruption of these judges in the state is breathtaking.
Yeah.
I mean, the California thing is a cultural problem, but I'm just talking about the legal voting battles that have been going on have been breathtaking.
Let me quote Andrew Breitbart. Politics is downstream of culture.
Okay. So, again,
I'm saying, look, when Leslie moved moved with me to Arizona, it was like 20 years ago. She was like, what the hell's going on? Because she's from Virginia. Virginia is very settled, very old. It's been around a long, long time. She was like, what's up with all these propositions? And
the propositions, right?
Proposition 101, proposition. It's like every year it was like 20 things, 30 things we're suddenly voting on, trying to manipulate, shift, and change the laws. This all came from California. It's been happening for decades, and that is the same basic corruption.
Well, it's still going to
wrangle the system around to what you want.
They're still going for Trump, regardless of this wrangling. So his numbers are pretty solid. And I think Arizona is going to be called very early at our meetup in West Palm Beach on November 5th.
I hope so.
That's my prediction about Arizona.
Well, in fairness, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. If Trump does win Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania is not as critical as before, right? Because I mean, these are
no. Pennsylvania and Georgia is 16 and 16. So you're talking about 32 electoral votes. It's over.
Right.
It's over. And the reason it's important is that they're East Coast elections, so they'll be called early in the night. That's also important because the chicanery may be insurmountable at that point. In other words, if you take Pennsylvania and Georgia early with 32 electoral votes, this could end it immediately, that there's no path to victory for your opponent.
Okay, and we've got 11 in Arizona. So no, what I'm saying is that
but I'm saying Arizona may be cold late at night.
Oh, it could be. It could be
because of the geography, Eric. Because of time difference. Sure. If you win these East Coast states, it becomes insurmountable, and the steel becomes insurmountable.
Okay, they're claiming it's 19 in Pennsylvania. So okay,
19 and 16 combined.
So, okay, well, I just want to point out because I know last time, like he lost Georgia, so the other factors came in, but it would be great if he picks those up. And North Carolina's got a handful. So I don't know. I'm truly hoping that he comes out with like 320 plus or what have you.
Well, my question comes out with it.
Well, my question is, I'm asking you this just to see. Do you think it's possible he could win the popular vote?
By an inch. It's popular. It's possible. By an inch. It is possible.
That would be the first time in 20 years that a Republican has.
It is possible.
I'm hoping, because I feel like then that would be a mandate. That would be
you know what? That's a good point. That would be a mandate.
Yeah, everybody shut up. He won everything. You just shut up for a minute.
Well, it's kind of interesting. It had 20 electoral votes in 2020, and now it's down to 19. The state of Pennsylvania, or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they're losing population.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, they lost an electoral vote.
Well, did New York and California also?
Yeah.
So, and Arizona probably picked up one or two in that same time. I don't know.
Well, the election is Tuesday, November 5th, in case people are curious as to the date of the election.
And where should they be?
West Palm Beach, Florida, because Mar-a-Lago is right down the road, and we will go as a group patriotically, peacefully from the event to Mar-a-Lago for the late night party, which I didn't want to tell Eric because he's going to have a heart attack.
You got the in.
Yeah, we're going to go as a group on the street from the event, not unlike January 6th. So keep that in mind if you want to wear your walking shoes. If there is victory that night early, that's what I intend to do.
All right, let's shift to New York since we mentioned losing the electoral vote there anyway. This is a very, very confusing story. New York City Jewish voters ready to rally for Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, I don't know what this
from
is.
Governor to mayor?
Well, he'll take anything at this point. What's this guy supposed to do for a living? I mean, if you become mayor of New York, that's a pretty prestigious job.
Oh, well,
he has
this
a lot
is the
of
one
support.
state. This is the one state.
What's that?
No, it's because this is the one state that the mayor of New York, or the mayor of New York City, might be more powerful than the governor of New York.
Oh, yeah,
weird one.
Yeah, he still has a lot of favorable support in the state and in the city for sure. Not everybody turned their back on Cuomo because of what happened. He still has a lot of favorability. I mean, it would be better than that public advocate, the Marxist who lives in the army base in Fort Hamilton. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with the spanking that Cuomo got, he may have something to prove if he was allowed to govern something. Yeah,
that'd be very.
Yeah, he might have something to prove. Maybe the greatest thing ever to happen in New York.
It's got to be better than what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Cuomo's okay. I don't expect a right wing or conservative type of person to ever be in New York. So, somebody who's somewhat reasonable.
Bloomberg and Giuliani, it's in recent memory that they ran New York, Eric. So, I mean, what Gonzalez pointed out, and what a lot of people pointed out, including Giuliani, was they clean up the city, they go back to a Democratic liberal who destroys the city, and they go back. It's almost like a pendulum. It's always happened in New York. And then they go back to a Republican to clean up the mess of the children. So it's not that far-fetched, Eric.
Well, no, and I've said that before, that's why Youngkin won Virginia. I don't think it's unique to New York. Everywhere, crime is a thing that cuts.
Right. Well, New York is not. The point I'm trying to make is New York is not California. It's not a one-party state. Staten Island's red. Queens is red. Big chunks of New York are red, unlike California here.
Well, and I hope it stays that way. Because there are red parts of California too.
Well, Beverly Hills is red. Beverly
and Northern
Orange,
California,
Orange County,
Northern California, a lot of the Sacramento area or outside Sacramento.
Yeah,
I know that there's, and what is it? There's more Republicans in California than any other state.
they used to take us as kids every year when we were in public school in New York. They would take us to a Dutch Reform village on Staten Island, which was them wearing costumes as the Dutch in the 1600s, making butter, churning butter, living in thatched huts. And for years, I thought that's how people on Staten Island actually lived.
Okay. All right. You sent me this article. I have no idea why. It's another celebrity who died recently, Shannon Doherty, but apparently her ex-husband. What's this?
Yeah, that's a friend of ours. Ashley Hamilton is the son of George Hamilton. I know both of these pretty. Yeah, that's why I sent it to you. I know Ashley for years, and of course George Hamilton, a friend who I've known for many years. And Ashley apparently blames his meds, but he ended up in a hotel on a couch in the lobby of a hotel on Sunset Boulevard. And the clerk came over and said, "You can't sleep here," even though it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And he pulled a knife on him and chased him around with a knife. And then the guy fled, brought the police back. Ashley was arrested. It's a celebrity nightmare. Ashley Hamilton's mother is Alana Stewart, the ex-wife of the singer Rod Stewart. So there's a lot of celebrity royalty with Ashley Hamilton's family. He was married to Shannon Doherty. He was on a show called Sunset Beach and played a small part in Iron Man 3, probably. It got blown up, I think, in Iron Man 3. But Ashley's having a hard time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He looks a little different here.
Dude, he was as gorgeous as his father. He somehow developed eye cancer now. I don't even know what that means, but he's got a case of eye cancer.
Wow. That's any cancer sounds dreadful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever that is. Oh, okay. There he is. Is this him with Pop?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Pop. The reason Pop's important is the stories that we told about him and LBJ's daughter. If you remember, George was helping me with the script on LBJ, which we're going to do the AI treatment of and put it up as a bonus for signing up for the unstructured.locals.com. George was helpful telling me first-person accounts dating LBJ's daughter, and the favorite story. He's from Memphis, George Hamilton, a great storyteller, and he told me the story of landing at the LBJ ranch, being picked up in the convertible Lincoln by LBJ, taken directly to the deer hunting area of LBJ's land, and LBJ pointing out a group of deer and saying there's one, and gives him a gun. He just got off the plane, and he lays down on the grass, George Hamilton, and with one shot takes out a huge buck with a headshot. And LBJ famously says, "You're some kind of a Daniel Boone, ain't you, boy?" And Hamilton told me this story. It was absolutely brilliant. And he wanted him to be his son-in-law. And George Hamilton wanted to move on to other women, which he eventually did. But he took LBJ's daughter to the Oscars here in Santa Monica that year. And he said it took a lot of beauticians to get her ready. Let me put it that way.
Ouch.
No, he said it as delicately as possible, but he said it took hours. He brought in the top Hollywood people to work on her and get her ready for the Oscars.
Ooh, ouch. And that's all in that script?
Yeah, no, that's not in the script. What's in the script is stuff that he gave me, which I already had. But he wanted George Hamilton to be his son-in-law. He really wanted him to marry his daughter. In fact, there were protests outside the White House because George Hamilton was not going to Vietnam to fight because he was dating LBJ's daughter.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go through some super chats. We've had a few come in. Pamela Clifton, right on schedule. Happy October 1st, guys.
Happy Halloween eventually.
In 30 days, believe me. My wife has an advent calendar.
Oh, here they start early here in Hollywood. Believe me, that's their New Year's Eve.
My wife does too.
Look what I just got in the mail, Eric.
What'd you just get? Okay. St. John Hunt. Yep.
This is from the Sun about his mother's death. I mean, I just got it. I couldn't put it down, and then I got this. This is the article about the Hunts, covered by Rolling Stone. This is the original issue of Rolling Stone, and in here is the story about his mother and the plane crash and everything else. So yeah, that just came today. Thank God, because
you got the People of him too, right? There's a People.
Yeah,
magazine.
I have the People magazine. That's all from the Nixon Book Fund, which is paying for this stuff through their donations through PayPal and Venmo. So your money is going to these materials, which will then go into the story, which will then be on Tuesday, part 3 of E. Howard Hunt, which is going to be very interesting.
Look forward to that.
Yeah,
all right,
very
Pete
interesting.
Skippy is a new member. Thank you.
Skippy.
And Pete Skippy sent a super sticker.
Skippy, way to go, Skippy.
Thank you, Skippy.
By the way, I recommend there's a 2-part Alex Gibney, who I dislike, but he does a 2-part documentary on the history of The Sopranos that people may want to look at, with incredible interviews behind the scenes. The whole thing is focused on David Chase, but everybody's in there, including the death of James Gandolfini. Very interesting 2-parter on Max HBO.
His Scientology one was pretty good too, if I recall.
The Gibney one, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, he's not a hack. He's just CIA. Right. I mean, they didn't hire.
They have talented people at the CIA.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, I found out that Hunt actually did work on the Animal Farm, George Orwell animated British film.
Of course he did.
I didn't know that. I just recently found out that he was involved in it. Fascinating that he was involved in that.
You guys you're gonna have to have a list.
It's just crazy how much Hunt is involved in.
Yeah. All right. Pew Pew gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much, Pew Pew. Super generous. Pamela Clifton, at that meetup on November 5th, are y'all interviewing President Trump?
Well, we're going to try to get over to the house. If it's a good night, we're going to leave the building together as a group. I'm not kidding. And
well, we're not sure. You know, his people keep asking if he can be interviewed by us, and we haven't decided yet.
We haven't decided yet, but if there's an opportunity, we'll try to take advantage of it.
Sean Lucan gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much, Sean.
Luke and the Wolf Boy.
That's right. But Pew Pew said, hell with that. And
we used to have a guy on the Dodgers who had the Wolf Boy disease. He had hair on his face, and he was a pitcher on the Dodgers. He had whatever that Wolf Boy disease is. I forget the medical term for it, but he had the hair on his face. He was a pretty good pitcher, but he just scared the kids amazingly too much to remain as a Dodger. But we called him the Wolf Boy.
Okay. Hypertrichosis.
Okay. That's what he had. That's exactly what the guy had. It wasn't, I mean, it was over here. It was like over here, like he had to shave his forehead and his cheeks.
That would suck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or you'd have to go in and get waxed every time.
Wax his face. Good picture, though. I don't know what happened to him. But I mean, they used to have Jim Abbott, who had one arm, pitch for the Angels and the Yankees, and he was able to play at the highest level I've ever seen anyone handicapped in the history of sports. He tucked his glove under the stump.
I can see that now.
Dude, he flipped the glove to the one hand that he had as soon as he released the ball. He pitched a no-hitter, I think, for the Yankees. One of the greatest handicapped performers in the history of sports.
I would argue not handicapped.
But well, I mean, they did try to bunt on him, and they did try to do things to him. They didn't accept his handicap that nicely, but
well, of course, but he would be insulted if they did. I'm sure.
No, of course, no. A lot of pride. The guy had a lot of pride. I mean,
and think about this: what his one arm acted like two of a normal person, so he had to have a bullet.
Yeah.
There
was also three-fingered Mordecai Brown, who I think played for St. Louis, who had 3 fingers on his throwing hand. There's been a couple of these guys in the history of baseball.
All right, Tommy guy, that's just cruel. He went down the drain in a hair clog.
Who?
The pitcher.
He went down the drain.
It was an attempt at a joke.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't.
He said, "Whatever happened to him?"
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, right.
Morton Davis with $10. Thank you. And Morton Davis again. Why are American Jews still supporting Democrats who fund Tehran?
Again, you'd have to ask them individually because Orthodox Jews have strongly voted Republican for decades. The Jewish community has a lot of people on the right that have been fairly famous. I mean, talk to David Horowitz. I mean, there's a lot of now Dershowitzes. I mean, it depends who the individual is. I mean, it's not a huge community, so you're dealing with a small group. I mean, there's not that many of us in the country.
True, especially Orthodox, though. There's even fewer.
Right, but I'm saying Ben Shapiro is conservative.
He's Orthodox, though.
He's an Orthodox Jew, but I mean, the Hasidim, they vote for Trump and conservative candidates.
All right. All thrust, no rudder. When Carter visited Memphis in '78, the USS shadowed a local surgeon, Dr. Sellers, such that he could be quickly taken to Carter if needed. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
The surgeon himself?
Yeah, the U.S.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes total sense. That
you got to know where the hospital is, for Christ's sakes. That's a minimum amount of information. That's crazy.
Well, even Reagan, they knew where to go. Remember, he got shot, and they were like, "Oh, we got to go to the hospital." And they turned. They went to the hospital. Amazing, low tech that they could pull that off. Sergeant Willie, according to Barnes, a lot of the judges are holdovers from McCain.
Yeah, he has explained it that way. I just find it so crazy that McCain had that much influence and is dead for so many years. I don't get it. I don't get it. The guy's been dead for years.
I mean, McCain inherited the Goldwater,
right,
and Udall, and he also was tied in with the savings and loans. So God knows how much money.
No, but I mean, you've got the astronaut is a Democratic senator, and then you've got either Kerry Lake or this guy Gallego is going to be the Democratic other senator. I don't understand the McCain influence.
I mean,
is there a McCain Senate candidate? No.
The McCain people are all left. I mean, it's kind of like Bush is, voting for Kamala. He didn't endorse her, but I think he said he was voting for her. Obviously Cheney. So, I mean,
I think he's selling his paintings to the Chinese. Those crazy paintings he's making. Kind of like Hinckley should get a Chinese agent. Hinckley, with his paintings, if he can get a Chinese art agent, he can make a fortune. Hinckley.
Well, how about a gallery where you could have W. Hinckley and Hunter Biden?
That would be brilliant. Brilliant.
New art exhibit. Jenny's getting inky with it. Did either of you watch Rescue the Republic? Brett is posting the clips. Taibbi's and Kern's speeches were particularly good. Tennessee Jets, the Defiant, and 5 times August performances were really good.
I did see it. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I dipped in and out of it. So I did see that. Yeah.
I like Taibbi's little thing of.
I didn't see Taibbi.
Yeah,
I saw there was a priest speaking, and then that guy, the musician. I saw some of it. It seemed to be a good crowd.
Yeah, I mean, looks like everybody was there. I think I saw Poso there. I think Jordan Peterson was there. Dave Rubin was there. RFK Jr. seemed like he was there. So Weinstein pulled a pretty good crowd.
Yeah.
Olympic Jeff is a new member. Thank you. And then Dustin said, Election Day in the AUS bunker.
Yeah, either we come out alive or we don't, Dustin. Let's go. This is it. This is the final days, to quote Bob Woodward.
Or Elon Musk right now, because sadly it may well be final days. And oh, wow. Okay, so we've got some Rumble rants in here. Freddie65 said, thanks for keeping me sane.
Freddie, way to go, bro.
Freddie65 again. Remember, it was old-time Republicans that tried to pay off Kerry not to run now.
Carrie Lake, or
I think so.
Oh, right. That's right. That's right. That bribery thing. I don't even know if that's bribery, but it's some kind of bribery. They just wanted to pay her off to not run. Remember?
True. And then
this thing is going on for. It seems like it's going on. Her running for Senate seems like it's been going on for years.
True. Well, I mean, she's
on every single. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, she started running for Senate the second she lost governor. So
that's why it seems that way. You're right. You're right. Because it was 2 years of the governor's race, not 2 years of this.
Yeah. Alan, AG Main 5082, $50 Rumble rant said, here's a simple solution for the hospital problem in Butler, Pennsylvania. Station a local deputy sheriff in front of the Secret Service SUV and follow him to the hospital.
Oh, that's what they did with JFK. I mean, they didn't know where Parkland was. It was the lead car that had everybody in it that led the way for JFK's car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it's traditionally done. That's why they have a lead car. The lead car is local.
Yeah. Old school. I mean, it works. They've been doing it for a century plus. Yeah. Why? But these geniuses, you know what?
Couldn't get out of their own way. Literally couldn't get that vehicle out of there.
Probably couldn't find a diversity candidate officer to drive the car.
Also, the Horowitz, a different Horowitz, but the Inspector General Horowitz J6 report is coming out. And apparently he's holding it until after the election. There may be over in the report, and I just want to brace people for it, it may reveal that there were over 200 FBI agents undercover as provocateurs in the crowd. Over 200. We're going to find out after the election. He just smiled. He wouldn't give the number. And they said, is it more than 100? And the guy just said, I don't want to say if it's more or less than 100. And then the guy went to 200. It may be over 200 agents in the crowd creating this event out of thin air. This may be one of the great reports of all times. Of course, if Kamala wins, it'll disappear. But if not, we'll get our hands on it.
Well, all the more important that it comes out. I mean, like we've seen that footage with Pelosi.
Yeah.
From her own daughter.
Yeah.
And she's like admitted in that footage. Oh, I screwed this up.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And there's been more and more and more evidence that Trump was like, I don't care, send the National Guard, send all that you need.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not only is it he didn't say the wrong thing, he's completely not guilty in any way, shape, or fashion. And
well, this has to be resolved once he gets back in office. And I don't mean just pardoning. I don't mean just pardoning them physically, but I mean getting underneath this thing and finding out what happened and holding people accountable.
Oh yeah, I think that
this can never be allowed to happen again.
Yes, pardon day one, and then the following week, especially if he picks up Congress, congressional hearings part 2.
Yeah.
The electric boogaloo. Time for the follow-up. And let's see. And I think that's why so many of these people are terrified. And they've even said they're like,
rightfully so. They're right from their point of view.
We don't know. We might have to move. I'm not sure where to send my family. All this stupid. But it's like, you guys are dirty.
I mean, they know their own paper trails. They know what their emails say. And once you start getting into discovery on these cases and their emails are read out loud, it could be very devastating to them.
And I think that'd be good. All right. Well, on another note, a mystery that has been going on for a while it's finally been confirmed.
What?
The panda bears in China, they have admitted are truly dogs that are painted.
Oh my God. Oh no. I wanted to go to the San Diego Zoo. Is that a dog in San Diego or is that a real
it's in China.
Oh no, that's terrible.
So now they have admitted that no.
I saw that a while back. Yeah, that's an interesting tale.
Well, no, but it's been around since a while, but now they've admitted.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. Gotcha. Wow. Also they sent out a subpoena to China Tim about his 30 to possibly, according to Massey out of Kentucky, 1st District, he may have gone to China over 50 times, Eric.
Oh, it's 50 now, not 30?
Yeah, it's 50. Yeah, because he said over 30, but Massey is now revealed last night. They subpoenaed him. There's a whistleblower involved, and he may have gone to China over 50 times. I hope Vance brings it up in the debate tonight with Tim Walz, which we call China Tim. The China guns have now been pointed at him. And this is going to be interesting because Massey has sunk his teeth into this story now, up the yin yang.
Well, good, good. By the way, did you like the thumbnail of China Tim?
Yes, that's why I'm mentioning it again, because if he went to China, look, 30 times is insane. I haven't even gone to Florida 30 times in my life. You know, it was probably more or less around 30, but 50 times to China. What did you do there? What were you expected to do? What kind of security clearances did you get? Why were you going there? What is the fucking deal with China with this fat fuck?
Oh, man.
What is the deal, Eric?
Hold on. Susan asked a very interesting question.
Go ahead.
What is the age of consent in China?
Oh, stop it. Oh, no.
I didn't say it.
That's so dark, Eric. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either, but...
oh, no. Say it ain't so.
I make no claims. It was just some random question somebody asked.
Why does he keep going back there? Like, what is it? I mean, the food can't be that good. Yeah, this is part of the investigation. Massey's leading against Tim Walz. This is not going to go away.
Nope.
No, this is not going to go away.
In China and speak Chinese. Now, I happen to be and understand a little about China and lived in China and speak Chinese. I'm pretty friendly.
He lived in China
and speaks Chinese.
Right. I mean, if he went 50 times, I don't know how long the 50 times the length of the trips were. Maybe he stayed, 6 months as far as we know. We don't, a student going to China. This is the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's just a continuation of, it's all this stuff. And I just thought, let's keep it going here.
Wow.
This is his Harvard, teaching. This, by the way, he's making fun of Vance for going to Yale.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he goes to Harvard.
Yeah, he brought a Harvard student with him, or a couple of students from Harvard, from what I understand, and then lied and said the trips were sanctioned by Harvard University. That's a lie. It just happened to have a couple of students who had been to Harvard on one of the trips, and he turned this into Harvard sanctioned these trips or paid for them or promoted them or something, which was a crock of shit.
Chinese Communist Party helped him set up a business to facilitate the travel.
Oh, my God. This thing is not going to go away. Everybody has got to focus on this guy because you've got two vice presidents from hell now, this guy and her. And not to mention the mentor of vice presidential corruption is Joe Biden. If you want to just talk about vice presidential corruption, Mike Pence might have been a douchebag, but nobody accused him of being a financial corrupt guy.
No,
Joe Biden is the model for how to manipulate this. And the real model was the original guy was LBJ.
Yeah.
I mean, he did not rest while he was vice president.
Oh, the model is so similar because he also had a lifetime in the Senate and the House before he became president, just like Biden, who was in there forever. So the corruption is so long, so deep, so established.
The vice presidential job is always perceived to be a do-nothing, ribbon-cutting job.
But
there are corrupt people like Biden and LBJ who made it worth their while to be there and do things. And those two guys stand out as two corrupt vice presidents who lined their pockets while vice president.
Yeah.
I don't think that this fat bastard cares about that because he's really a Maoist. I don't think he's in it for the money, Tim Walz. But Biden obviously was, and so was LBJ.
Oh, here we go. Walz is on record in Congress being present in Hong Kong during the massacre, which he wasn't, according to this conflicting report. So there's a picture of him in Nebraska at the same time that the event happened.
Right.
So he's trying to steal that valor. Is there any valor this guy?
Well, he did go there for the anniversary of Tiananmen Square to marry his wife. I think that was I don't think he ever did. He say he was a the Tiananmen Square massacre. What good would that do?
I don't know. And this could be a case, and I don't want to defend the dude at all, but people are saying, he did not serve in Afghanistan, but the truth is he did go to Afghanistan as part of a congressional crew. Now, he did speak in a manner to where people could interpret it as if he served there.
Yes.
But in fairness, he did go to Afghanistan as part of a congressional group.
Well, he went to Italy militarily went to Italy as part of the National Guard.
Correct. He never served in the Middle East. He was in Italy.
No, he was in
Italy. Then, here's this, good time to have a wedding, 5th anniversary of the
5th anniversary of Tiananmen Square. Yeah, I mean, that's like, marrying someone and going to the anniversary of Hiroshima.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, Mark.
Or Nagasaki Day or something. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Here he is. Is it the Great Wall? Yep.
Wow.
This is one of his classmates describing him as Maoist to the core. We're only 8 of 15 on this thread, by the way, folks. So I mean,
wow. Well, like we said, he brought back hundreds of Little Red books. I don't know what he did with the Little Red.
Let's see what he has to say here.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Yes, there is. No, there is, you fat fuck. I'm sorry. We got to push back on this, Eric. You fat piece of shit from Minnesota. You don't even know your own constitution. There's no legislation against hate speech. It's part of the First Amendment.
Oh, it's China that has the social credit score.
Right.
And I'm sure he's 100% in love with that.
Yeah, of course he is. They said that they target guys like him, according to Massey, that they target people like him early on and then milk it for as long as, to get what they want out of him, a friend of China inside a position of power. Well, if he gets in there a heartbeat away, we've got our first total Manchurian candidate inside of the White House, Eric.
Yep. He also pushed for a bias registry in Minnesota.
Wow.
That sounds like a social credit score.
Yep. And
there's a floor debate on it. I'm not going to play that right now.
No, I think tonight's debate is going to be very interesting. If Vance brings up China and brings up stolen valor and is able to overcome I presume it's those brutally harsh chicks of CBS that has the incredible harsh girls for tonight's debate. But Vance is manly enough to look at the Che Guevara thing.
No, this is his commissioner. This is like one of his people.
Oh, it's one of his people. Right.
That's Maoist on the left, Che on the right.
There's your bookends. There's your bookends.
This is his people, man.
How this got into Minnesota? I mean, you would think Madison, Wisconsin was kind of always a leftist cesspool of communism, but what is the equivalent in Minnesota? I guess it's right next door, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, look at this. When Republicans proposed a ban on slave trade operations, it was turned down by his DFL legislature.
Interesting.
All the while, we have ability to mine more copper nickel than anyone in the world right here in Minnesota. Another win for China. There it is.
Yeah, there he's getting victories legislatively. Interesting.
But he's also obviously there's an investment. There's nickel and copper that they need.
Yeah. Wow. This is so dark, bro. I mean, we have to drive a stake into this vampire's heart.
Don't forget your police stations, Mark.
And don't forget the farmland next to the military bases they've been buying up. That story this week, how they've been buying up barren shit-ass farmland that nobody even wants, and they found out it's the proximity to the military bases.
We were talking about that last year.
Yeah, we were talking about it last year. If you're going to invade a country, wouldn't you like to be around their military bases when you invade? Wouldn't that be a good military position to be in? Give me a break.
Well, if you want to jam communications, or you just want to flat out see, looks like they're launching jets, or you run sabotage operations right before you do an attack.
They did so much damage to this country in 4 years. It's going to take Trump 4 years just to unravel the fucking damage that these cocksuckers did. I mean, the damage is so bad. There's so many areas that they've damaged us. I'm curious, has anybody looked at the nuclear waste that luggage stealing, dress wearing maniac was in charge of in the Department of Energy? Remember that guy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with the nuclear waste. That was the guy who was in charge of it. Was that trans guy?
Yeah, he's probably sharing the manual with Walz to give to China.
Right. Good point.
Here's that one. And here's
All
number
right, what else do you have besides Walz? I know you got a couple of things in the hopper there. I DM'd you.
I've sent you all the. I think I did all the DMs that you sent, but let me see. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, we have Marie Le Pen.
Oh, that's an interesting story, Eric. Come on.
What? I'm just pulling it
No,
up.
I'm just realizing I forgot. I forget what I sent you because I never look at it after I send it to you. The debate we covered, Marie Le Pen. Yeah, I can't believe that these are two cases. One is the guy from Telegram who was arrested in France. They said today his trial, he may have to wait to go to trial for 10 years. Okay. Now they're going after Marie Le Pen for campaign contributions. She's on trial. France has become the new Nazi Germany. I don't know what's worse, France or England for that matter. The UFC fighter who won his fight the other night, when interviewed seconds after the victory, went on a tirade about Macron that was profanity laced. I don't know if you saw this. Google that UFC fighter being interviewed about the French fighter. He went berserk about Macron being a fascist, and he was French. And he talked about the globalism, and he mentioned a book to read, which is a little hard to understand because he's yelling with a French accent. But that interview with that UFC announcer was unbelievable. This is Dana White's UFC thing, but holy crap, is France gone berserk?
Yeah, I've got this, but I don't have a full blown.
Okay.
Hold on.
But I mean, they're doing the same thing we're doing here by jailing their political opponents. I mean, she could go to jail for 10 years.
Ours.
She could go to jail for 10 years, Eric.
True. All right, let me see if you. What the heck? I have too many tabs open.
Okay.
All right, this guy.
Yes, that's the guy. There's a thing the second he won where this is it right there.
Fuck all globalists. Fuck all these motherfucking globalists. They're trying to push a political and corrupt agenda. If you want about politics and economy, I advise you read Why Democracy, the God that failed us. Hans Hermann Hope. And I hope you understand that democracy is a fallacy. Democracy is not the real government. So please read Hans Hope and understand why the world is going crazy like that today. Thank you so much, French. Paris is fucking beautiful. And
I mean, what an incredible thing to say after winning a fight, plugging a book, denouncing Marxists and saying France is beautiful and going after the leader. I mean, it's one of the greatest post-fight diatribes I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know that he's going after Marxists though, because he's talking about democracy is not everything. I don't know if he's coming from.
No. He's not referring to democracy that way. He's talking about republic versus democracy. Same thing as our Trumpian people have pointed out here. Many people have pointed out that we're not a democracy, and that's
I know that, but I mean
that's what he's saying.
Okay, well, yeah. I just want to.
He's not a fascist. Let me put it that way.
All right, and
by the way, I think Trudeau is done.
Yeah, no, I think he's.
Speaking of French douchebags, I think Trudeau is done. That is not going to win the upcoming elections.
No, it's been looking bad for a while. Okay. Oh, you shared this one, and yeah, this is spooky. Michael Malice, who is good on.
Yeah. What is the deal here? What is that?
He's talking about this is literal Soviet behavior, as I discussed in the White Pill. Children in the USSR were encouraged to turn their parents in, even if it cost them their lives.
Can you show that clip by this kid?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I don't know.
Work again. Turn in your father.
Well, the tip actually came in from before January 6th. My dad was getting way more radicalized as time went on, following Trump and isolating himself more and more, and it was terrifying.
What were some of the signs you saw?
He's watching all sorts of media that was terrifying. He isolated himself to online groups that were far right, radical, and he was growing more and more violent, not to just the family, but to the people around him. and it scared me.
And then when you saw it January 6th, how soon after did you realize your father was involved that you had to act further?
It was while they were pointing guns at the doors of
the guns. It was the
guns.
guns. Yeah,
you saw them there.
He was texting my mom, and
I don't remember a single gun.
No, there was proven in the report there were no guns whatsoever. And his isolation, he says, was watching Fox News, and then he went online. He was reading Breitbart, and then the violence is verbal; it's not physical. But this kid had to turn him into the FBI and receive. I don't know if he got a reward. What you get in the Soviet United States at this point, Eric.
Well, I know what. Maybe he's going to get his medications paid for his gender transformation.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. But this is, Michael Malice was pointing out that that's what happened in the Soviet Union, even to the detriment of the kids who turned their parents in. They were incarcerated.
By the way, not just Soviet Union. Let's not give them the prize. At North Korea, they do that.
That I don't know.
Mao China, they do that. And
no. I'm just saying Malice was pointing out his own experience.
I understand.
Up. Yeah, I didn't. Where he grew up. That's why I think he was mentioning it.
Without doubt, and he does know about that. He also knows about North Korea because he did his book on that. Dear Leader. That's what put him on the map.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let's see. Dustin Russell.
I wish I could have turned my parents in. I'll tell you that much. I would have turned them in a second, those fat bastards.
Didn't you every time you came back from camp?
I had to turn them in. I wish I could have. I mean, there was nothing I could do about it, but I was stuck with them.
All right. Dustin Russell said Walz is going for the free buffet after 40 qualifying visits.
You know what? You can't just keep going to I used to hang out with John Panette, who was a fat comic. He was very funny. Came out of the Northeast, out of Boston, and Panette had an entire routine called Chinese buffet. And this guy would come up to him and say, "You no eat here anymore. You too fat. Too many trips to buffet. You banned." And he went into this whole long comic routine, Panette, about being a fat guy. Here's John. Oh, God, I miss him. We were very close. I really miss John Panette. But we eventually together, I went on the road with him writing jokes. We went to that Chinese buffet and he performed there while I was stuffing my fat face. And there was the actual guy. I thought it was a made up story. It wasn't. In Boston, around Boston, this is the strangest thing. They have stand-up comedy in Chinese restaurants. It's a uniquely Boston area.
That's right.
thing.
I remember that.
Yeah, and he told me this when I was first. I go, "What are you talking about? What stand-up comedy in Chinese restaurants?" We went to one and he performed, and there was the free Chinese buffet.
Yeah, there was a movie. I forgot the name of it, but it was all about the Boston comedy scene, and one of the two venues was that Chinese restaurant.
Right.
That it's the weirdest thing in the world.
A lot of good comics came out of there.
Obviously. Well, Stephen Wright was the one that came out first, and then all the other, all these other ones kind of followed him.
Bobcat
Goldthwait came out of there.
I know Dennis Leary. I know he was probably the
Dennis
best.
Leary is also yeah.
He was good.
But I wish I knew it, but it came out around 2000 to 2003. I think it's on YouTube. You can probably watch it, but it's about comedy in Boston.
Okay.
I have such sights to show you. Hans Hermann Hoppe, Democracy, the God That Failed, the Economics and Politics of Monarchy, Democracy, and Natural Order is what he's talking about.
Dude, the fact that he's a mixed martial arts fighter plugging his book. I don't give a shit what book it is. It's insanely absurd theater. I mean, God bless this guy.
A lot of these guys are very well read.
This guy, I mean, come on.
I know, but I'm just saying they're very well read. A lot of UFC people.
Wow.
It's like in between beating each other up, they read.
That guy's reading books on economics and monarchy. God bless the guy.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? We're going to be shifting to the cool spot where we can talk about other books, other monarchies, whatever we would like.
And what happened to Hemingway?
And what happened?
You know what? We should say what happened to Hemingway is a code phrase for the thing that happened to Hemingway.
Yeah, the Hemingway thing.
The Hemingway factor. He got Hemingwayed. How about Hemingwayed as a verb?
Yeah, we already say he could be Epstein, so why not?
I like
Hemingway?
that. Jerry Stahl emailed me yesterday. He's now a fan of the show. Who wrote a great movie for HBO on Hemingway and also wrote Permanent Midnight, the great autobiography where Ben Stiller played him in the movie. Apparently, Jerry has found the show and is a big fan now.
Wow, I would love to see Jerry on the show. Freeform Friday. I'll just sit back and you two can swap stories.
Jerry stumbled onto the coffee shop episode and flipped out. He told me, he emailed me last night.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I know. It's very cool.
All right. Well, we are going to head over to locals again.
Okay. All right. That's
you
fair.
Can follow us there.
That's fair. That's fair.
Remember, it's free membership. We're still going to be hanging out. You don't have to leave us. You just go right there, unstructured.locals.com.
You know, Viva couldn't make the switch the other day on Sunday. Did you see what happened?
No, what happened?
He couldn't get off of YouTube to get over to Rumble and Locals. The feed he couldn't end the feed.
Probably he was using Rumble Studio.
Yep. He couldn't get out.
I know that. I use it every Saturday, and I have problems every Saturday. Why do I only use it on Saturdays when we don't have thousands of people watching?
He couldn't get out of YouTube. He had to go the whole show on YouTube, Eric. He couldn't end it.
I've had the same thing on Locals. I've literally closed one window, opened another browser, gone into it just to end the stream. So yes, I've been there. We love your Rumble. We want your tech to be great, but please get it working well. Thank you very much. And well, we'll see you on Locals.
Well, we'll see you on Locals, and then we'll talk about you. The people who don't come over, we're going to talk about you behind your back.
Absolutely.
Okay.
As it should be.